All right, so it's week 5. Let's get into it. So on Monday, I started by making some Jen's Juicy Fruit Glaze. It's called a covered glaze, as you can see in the recipe book, which means it's like a 2-part. You have a glaze underneath of it to have the full effects of it on top. And there's the recipe somewhere in there in the John Britt book. And then after that, I was looking around and I found this really cool one that goes over Temoku, which is another glaze I made on week 1. And so then I started reading through the glaze books to kind of learn about glaze chemistry, which weren't very helpful until I watched some John Britt videos on YouTube. He has a free class. And so there in that first column, it's in empirical formula. There in that first column, that's flux. That second column is refractory. And the third column is the glass maker, which doesn't really make much sense until there was a car analogy. And basically the glass maker, the silica, is what makes it shiny and pretty. And so that's like your car. That's what makes it a glaze to begin with. So then the flux is like the gas. That's what makes it run and have kind of that glass-like material. But the refractory stops it from melting off the entire pot and gives it some stability, so like a brake. The second book that I was reading was talking about glaze durability and specifically for it being food safe. So this first image is about leaching with acidic things, that the chemicals will not leave the glaze and the glaze won't be harmed. There's lots of other things, and they had really cool diagrams, and I thought it was really interesting. And it was talking about food safeness and toxic materials, and that reminded me of a glaze over at the college that was specifically not food safe, and it was the only one, and it was because of the barium in it. And I remembered a combination I had with that glaze, Hino Matte, and this glaze, Ketchup Red. And Hino Matte is like this matte green color, and then Ketchup Red was kind of glossy and thick and red and brown, but when they layered over each other, it became a black. So I was thinking about, with experimentation, what I would do if I mixed those glazes together for future experimentation. So then on Tuesday, I started out the day doing a lot of video editing and working on my vlogs for the week because it takes a lot of work. I kind of underestimated just how many hours I'd be spending. I mean, I'd still rather do it than writing a whole bunch of stuff, but it takes quite a long time, so I usually have to dedicate 1 or 2 days to working on one video for a week. After that, I went into making some mugs. I made some really big mugs that borderline look like bowls, and then I also prepped some for some travel mugs. I made some little things for stamps. I'm gonna make my own because I've been seeing a lot of people use stamps, but in a more cliche and like I bought it kind of way. And since I'm a printmaking major, I figured I might as well just make my own. So here's some more shots of all the stuff I made on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, I started out the day and Clarence and Vicky were having a meeting for Bobtown having a new writing center. So it was part of my job to take pictures of that to help them film a promo for it. I covered up everybody's faces because I felt really uncomfortable having people who aren't a part of Bobtown in these. I just don't feel like that's right. So there's their cute little pixel faces. And yeah, I continued my day by trimming bowls. That one there, I put 3 little feet on it. This is the kind of the process of how I did it. I made a really long kind of foot and then cut it up into 3 pieces and smoothed it out, and I thought it looked super cool. That one is for the second, I think it's called, in the mortar and pestle, I think the part that goes in there and grinds is called the mortar. So that's the pestle, I believe, for the stray mortar that doesn't have a match. And then here's the stamps after I carved them. I started out with fish because they're all reliable. And then I also worked on this travel cup to make it look like a bunch of beets because there was this really pretty raspberry glaze I wanted to use. Vicky came and brought me out some Ale-8 so I wouldn't get dehydrated. And then there's my stuff at the end of the day drying out. I really love how these big mug soup bowl things turned out. They have really nice feet and they're really hefty. But I put a big handle on them so it would be easier to carry them around and they wouldn't be too heavy. Because sometimes I feel like if the handle is too small and the contents are heavy inside of a mug, it really can hurt your hand and make it cramp. So I was trying to keep that in mind by giving an equal-sized handle to the mug. even though I think it would have been interesting to have just like the tiniest little handle. So then it's basically just a bowl with a little handle, but also they're still too steep. And there's a teeny tiny little mug that I just did there at the very end with some stray clay, and I thought it was really cute. On Thursday, I worked from home that day and did a lot of video editing. A lot. I worked on that Bobtown promo. I worked on another video that Clarence wanted me to work on. That's from a workshop a couple years ago. I finished up the vlog. I posted that day. All sorts of stuff on Thursday. And then on Friday, I took the day off because my friend Tara was visiting in town. So these are some pictures from that. I feel like rest is just as important as work, and that rest is necessary for work and vice versa. So I felt like if these videos are gonna commemorate the work I did this summer, there should also be just a couple moments to honor the rest. And that's all for week 4. Thanks for watching. So I cannot tell why this video is 6 minutes in comparison to the other ones. It's still a lot of content. I get because I took today off Friday and Thursday I worked from home. But I still did lots of work. It's just like nothing to document about with me taking videos. It's just gonna be like the same screen over and over. And then also throughout the week when I was there, I just did things so. And my phone it does not have the storage to hold me throwing videos. So, it's 6 minutes, but it's just as much. It's just as much content. I looked at the time, and it's half of most of what these videos are going to be. And it's just like, that's all. I just need a disclaimer to make me feel better. And it brings me to 7 minutes. So, yeah. For real, see you next week. Bye.